Hello and welcome back to some video on the Football Zone and to a weekend preview. No time for an intro because we're going to get straight into it with potentially one of the biggest games of the season so far, the Carabao Cup final between Manchester United and Newcastle. And yeah, I'm so excited about this. Such a big game. Ten Hag, can he bring a trophy to Manchester United? Can Newcastle, new owners, finally get the trophy they've been craving for so long? And yeah, it's such an interesting game. You feel like it could go either way. Obviously, Nick Pope will be a massive miss for Newcastle, but Rashford is an injury concern for Manchester United. Manchester United obviously on a massive high against Barca, but will have had much less time to prepare from this. So you feel like it's one that really could go either way. But I just feel like the way the Manchester United are playing at the moment, they will have slightly too much for Newcastle here. But it's going to be a great game, incredible atmosphere. But I'm going to say it'll be a 3-1 win for United. Moving on then to the Premier League and Fulham taking on Wolves at Craven Cottage on Friday night. And yeah, this is an intriguing game. Fulham coming into this one, on decent run of form, three wins out of the last 5. The other 2 were draws. So having a great season. But Wolves losing to Bournemouth last time at home was a really disappointing result, especially after a high of a win against Southampton Wolves before that. Fulham, they're in great form at home. I expect them to have enough here. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Saturday's games, and starting off at Goodison Park with Everton as they host Aston Villa. And Everton, their home form since Dyche's took over has kind of just been perfect. Again, win against Leeds, win against Arsenal. Villa, they've lost the last 3, not in great form at the moment. So you'd have to say this is a real opportunity for Sean Dyche's men to rack up another win and pull further away from the relegation worries. And I'm going to say they will do. I think they'll pick up another win here. Moving on into a massive game down at the bottom. With 19th place taking on 20th place. Leeds hosting Southampton. Javier Gracia coming in as Leeds manager. I think that's a solid appointment for the short term. Should be enough to see him over the line, I think. But yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, Leeds coming into this one, not on a great run of form, but I think that will be a big boost. But Southampton appointed sellers full time. After the performance against Chelsea, you can't really argue with it. But Leeds at home, new manager bounce. I don't know, I feel like they're just going to edge this one. Moving on then to the King Power with Leicester, who host Arsenal at the King Power. Already said that. But there we go. And yeah, Leicester were on a really good run before that 3-0 loss to United, which obviously was a disappointing result. But they'll be looking to get back on track here. But Arsenal, you do think those 2 goals in stoppage time against Villa really could be crucial for their season. And yeah, I think as a result of that, they will come into this one with a lot of confidence. They've had a 3 weeks to prepare for this one, unlike teams playing in Europe. So I'm going to say it'll be a 2-0 win to Arsenal. Moving on then to West Ham as they taking on Nottingham Forest at the London Stadium. And yeah, I think there's big pressure going on to David Moyes in this one. West Ham now in the relegation zone, and yeah, I kind of feel like if they lose this game, then yeah, maybe it could be curtains for David Moyes, and their form's been really poor. They need to improve. But Forest got that draw against Man City last night. That was a great result. But before that, yeah, their form was kind of being a bit average before that, so it's a much needed win. But yeah, I'm going to say West Ham will put it out of the bag here and just nick it. Moving on then to Bournemouth as they take on Manchester City at the Vitality. And Bournemouth, they're picking up at the moment, I think it's fair to say. 4 points from Wolves and Newcastle was a really good return. Positive signs for them. Out of the relegation zone are the Cherries at the moment. And Man City coming into this one, a few really disappointing draws. 2 draws against Leipzig and Forest where they really should have picked up 6 points or 2 wins. Manchester City, I think they will have enough quality to overcome Bournemouth, but they need to make sure they don't do the same again. Moving on then to Palace as they take on Liverpool in a 7:45 game in the Premier League. And yeah, Palace, their form isn't great at the moment. They haven't won for a while, haven't winless this year in fact. They're drawing, they've only lost 1 of their last 5, but yeah, they need to stop drawing and start winning. But Liverpool, coming off the back of that humiliating 5-2 defeat to Real Madrid, they need to respond. Premier League form has improved though, and they are now kind of in touch and distance of the UCL, so it's a big game for them. I'm going to say they're going to result 2-0. Moving on then to Tottenham as they take on Chelsea at White Hart Lane. And yeah, you normally say this is the main game of Super Sunday, but of course the Carabao Cup final is starting at 1:30. But yeah, Tottenham going to this one, a big win against West Ham after the loss to AC Milan in the Champions League. They're still firmly in the next Champions League races. Chelsea need a big response. Pressure will be growing on Potter after the loss to Dortmund, loss to Southampton. But yeah, Spurs at home, I think they'll have enough to get it done. I'm going to say 2-1. Moving on then to Saturday in the Championship, and yeah, we've got Coventry hosting Sunderland in the 12:30 game, and yeah, Coventry coming to this one in relatively decent form. I would say 1-3 of the last 5. yeah, definitely playing better than they were. But Sunderland, yeah, after a really good run, kind of just dropping off a bit, only 1 point from the last two, so they'll need to arrest that slide before it gets more serious. Still in the playoffs mix, but yeah, two teams that are evenly matched. I'm going to say this one will be a draw. Moving on then to Birmingham as they take on Luton at St Andrews. And yeah, Birmingham coming into this one, 3 defeats on the trot. And yeah, they kind of are sliding towards the relegation zone a bit, which will be a bit of a concern. But yeah, I think they may see this game as an opportunity to maybe get something out of it. Same will go for Luton though, but Luton are winless in the last 4 in all comps. So yeah, that'll be something they'll be looking to change in this one, but still sat in the playoff position, looking good. But yeah, I think away from home, Luton still the best side at the moment, I would say. So I'm going to say it'll be a 2-1 win for them. Moving on then to Bristol City as they take on Hull at Ashton Gate. And yeah, Bristol City coming into this one unbeaten in a long time now, since Boxing Day or something like that, I think. So yeah, that's really impressive. But Hull, 2 draws and a loss in the last 3, so not on a great run, and they'll be looking to recover that. But Bristol City, that's 15th now, playing some really solid stuff, kind of really getting away from the relegation zone now, which is obviously a big positive for them. And yeah, they look hard to beat them at the moment. I'm going to say Hull will nick a point, but yeah, I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on then to Burnley as they take on Huddersfield at Turf Moor. And yeah, Burnley, they're on terrible form at the moment. They've drawn 2 of the last 3 games. And yeah, I mean, awful form. Company surely has to go. But no, all jokes aside, of course they are heading to the Premier League and relatively comfortably. Taking on Neil Warnock's Huddersfield, who picks up a win against Birmingham. And yeah, I mean, that's a big win for them. They'll need to back it up here, but of course that's going to be a very hard task. I think Burnley will get a comfortable win here. Moving on then to Preston as they host Wigan at the Deepdale. And yeah, coming into this one, Preston, they're not on the best run of form. 5 games winless now in all competitions, which is disappointing really for them. But they are unbeaten in the last 2, so maybe showing small signs of improvement against the Wigan side, who have improved since the new managers come in. Unbeaten in 4, but they need to start getting some wins. But I think at home here, Preston will see it's a big opportunity. I think they'll get the win 2-1. Moving on then to QPR as they take on Blackburn at Loftus Road. And yeah, QPR coming into this one off the back of 3 league defeats. Gareth Ainsworth, the new manager, is an interesting point, and you really feel like it could be 2 ways. Kind of like Nathan Jones, who can't succeed out of Luton with Wycombe, or it could be a really inspired appointment. I think it might be an inspired appointment. We'll have to see where it goes. But Blackburn, 2 wins on the trot for them, unbeaten in 5, starting to move in the right direction to get their playoff charge back on track. But QPR, new manager bounce, it could go either way this one. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on into the Medeski as Reading take on Blackpool in a big game down at the foot of the Championship. Reading, they still got a healthy margin. Their form isn't too bad. They're going at 4 points from the last 4. So yeah, that you imagine that would see them stay up pretty comfortably. So yeah, Reading just needs to keep going at that pace. But Blackpool needs to start picking up results. Just 1 win in 8, I think it is, under Mick McCarthy so far. Not quite had the desired impact. So yeah, they need to turn it around. But I think Reading at home, this is a home game with their home form good that they'll really fancy. I'm going to say Reading win. Moving on into Sheffield United, they take on Watford at Bramall Lane. And yeah, this is a big game for Sheffield United because 2 losses on the trot now. Their form's starting to blip and Middlesbrough are coming them after them. There's just 4 points to gap now. Sheffield United do have a game in hand. But taking on a Watford side who picks up a win over West Brom, unbeaten in the last 4. Just 1 win in the last 5 for Watford. They see dress it up how you want. But yeah, it's a big game for Sheffield United and you really feel like they need to get a win out of this one. And yeah, I'm going to say they will do at home. It may be edgy at points, but I'm going to say they're just about going to get it done. I'm going to say 2-1 to the Blades. Move on, and Stoke take on Millwall at the Bet365 Stadium. Stoke moving in the right direction. 2 wins, a draw and a loss from the last 4. But taking on a Millwall side still sat in the playoffs. And yeah, their form's a bit inconsistent at the moment. 2 wins, 2 draws and a loss from their last 5. But yeah, a game that I think Millwall in the playoff positions kind of will fancy their chances in if they want to, continue with their good form and yeah, kind of try and cement their playoff spot. But yeah, I think Stoke will also fancy themselves in this one. I'm going to say this one will be a draw, 1-1. Moving on then to West Brom as they take on Middlesbrough at the Hawthorns, sorry. And yeah, West Brom coming into this one, not in a great run of form actually. They've only won 1 of the last 5, 3 losses in that period. So yeah, kind of feels like the new manager bounce under Corberán has maybe slightly dipped a bit, which will be frustrating for them. But yeah, they'll be looking to recover against an informed Middlesbrough side who was just playing some delightful stuff under Carrick. I can see them just about nicking a point. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on then to Norwich as they take on Cardiff at Carrow Road. And yeah, Norwich coming into this one unbeaten in the last 3, 2 wins for that, and that's really good news for Wagner and his team. Just 1 point out of the playoffs, really firmly back in the race after a bit of a tough run, which is obviously a major positive for them. Taking on a Cardiff side who have picked up 2 wins on the trot and starting to get moving under Sabri Lamucci. Starting to pull away from the relegation zone, so it won't be an easy game for Norwich at all, but I think at home they will fancy their chances. I'm going to say 2-0. And finally, moving on then to Swansea as they take on Rotherham at Liberty Stadium. And yeah, this is a game which is an interesting one, because Swansea, I'm just still not quite convinced by them under Russell Martin, but taking on a Rotherham side who, aren't in the best of forms at the moment, I think it's fair to say. It's a game that they will fancy their chances, but Rotherham also in their battle to kind of stay in the Championship, it's a big game for them as well, and one that they feel like they could get something out of. But I think being at home, Swansea having home advantage, I'm going to say they will just nick the win. But anyway, guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comments down below. Follow the show for daily football news and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.